Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I know it's a festive eve. I hope you have your holiday cheer. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Daniil, also known as Bettis McGee, hosting. I am just the lovely Christmas dinner plate that these two jolly campers are being served up on. Patrick and Wyatt, how are you guys doing tonight?
Dude, it's April.
Yeah, it's April. Well, you know what? That doesn't change anything. It does not change the fact that it is going to be the NACE Varsity Premier Playoffs. Saints had a bye last week, but here they are, ready to compete, ready to show what they are made of, and they are going against North Carolina State University, who also went 6-1 in their regular season play, but so did the Saints. Two different divisions, though. One thing I want to point out, the Saints division they're in is called the Super Conference. I want you guys to talk about why that super conference is called the Super Conference.
Well, it's obviously called the Super Conference because there's a big skill gap that we can see between the two teams. I mean, talking about East 1, which is where North Carolina are coming from, the other top team that was in their division was Akron. And looking at the ranks also, which gave us a little bit of light as well as to the experience on the team, they're about almost at par with our own St. Clair Saints. Still a little lower. I think the lowest that they were bringing to the table was a Diamond. And our lowest would be around an Immortal 2. So that's definitely a good giveaway at the skill difference between the two divisions. But, you know, that's just all said. It's a stat. It's a number. It's an in-game metric. Anything can happen on the actual game when we get into the maps.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I will say, you know what, as you pointed out, they're obviously bigger and better teams, at least ranking-wise, in that Super Conference. But both teams are both 6-1 heading into it. St. Clair off of a bye, NCSU through their last matchup, assuming either that or a bye, have done well throughout the season to at least perform on this stage. This is a big game, though, for St. Clair, because if you win this, boom, you book your ticket to Orlando. So there you go. You're down in Disney World. You get to say hi to the big mouse over there. But for now, that hasn't happened yet. And they need to punch their ticket in today. And how awesome would it be for NCSU to take that away from them?
I couldn't agree more, but gentlemen, I want to punch my ticket to a one-way trip to Smileyville. We have the ray of sunshine of the Valorant varsity team here with us. And look how excited he is. Look at him. He's waving. He loves us. Yeah! Yeah! Okay, here you, buddy. How are you feeling right now? You look like you're feeling great.
I'm feeling great. Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Hey, don't worry, man. He's spitting up there. Listen, I know there's a common stat. I know based off of some confusion that you guys are giving me. They say that only people with IQs of 140 and above can hear Smiley speak. So, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen at home, I know you guys all heard what he has to say, but for our host here, Smiley, if you could repeat what you were saying for
That's
us just a
crazy.
second ago.
I'm excited.
Yeah! Lower frequency now so that even sub 140 IQ people can hear him. Now, again,
How's it going?
It's going great, man. You look like you're doing good.
Yeah, I'm doing
You're
great.
chilling. I saw you earlier today chilling out in the
Yeah,
lab or
yeah.
getting those computers set up.
Yeah.
Now you're here to really show everybody why you are on this team. We haven't got to see you too much on stream this semester. And now stepping up for the team, you're going to look to remind everybody of the demon that you are. Tell me what's going through your head.
Yeah. Nothing but vibes, nothing but positive energy. That's really all. That's all. Nothing but love, baby. That's all that's going through my head right now.
He's holding the mic like he's a rapper. That's how you know this guy doesn't care.
I just mean my business, you know what I'm saying?
God, love it. And
Oh, yeah.
you know what?
Ready to see the
Unfortunately,
big mouse.
the big mouse downstairs. That sounds scarier than it is. There's not actually a giant mouse in the basement. It's just Mickey
No.
Mouse we're talking about.
Okay.
We're not talking about Mr. Mickey Mouse here, but who we are talking about, yourself, Smiley. I mean, obviously, as Daniil mentioned, you haven't been on stream. You haven't been with the team for most of the season. You've been playing with Ambrosia a little bit, taking a little break from that right now. How are you feeling going into this? I mean, there's a lot on the line, a lot of stakes for you guys to go to Orlando. Are you feeling a little bit of the pressure just hopping back onto the team after a little bit of a week with a bye, or have you guys had actual time to mesh together, to practice, and get back to each other just as boys and as homeboys?
I mean, it's really like I'm just coming back to home pretty much. Like all these guys are my boys. I've known them for like a year. I mean, it's really no pressure at all. It's really we're just all excited to see the big mouse. Nothing else on our mind really.
I was gonna say, you know what?
I can't. You mentioned it, and I'm just like, it's all on my mind right now. I need to see Mickey Mouse.
Well, I had that call actually on a COD stream like last year. That's why I refer to it whenever teams get to go to Orlando. And hopefully you guys punch your ticket in tonight. But there is something I'm very curious about. Obviously, we know that Fair Adam is not going to be playing tonight, and you are replacing him. And I know in your past that, at least on Ambrosia, I've seen you a lot on the controller and the Sentinel. But then when you come over here, there's a lot of play on Breach on those initiators as well. Fair is usually a very aggressive style duelist. What adaptations, losing that as of right now, have you guys made to kind of gel together, and what plans do you possibly have tonight, and what can we expect from your play style?
Put instinct on the duelist and do the same thing Fair does, baby.
That's it.
No difference.
Get aggressive. Hey, listen.
Simple
you know
answer.
what? We know on Lotus at least, right? I mean, it's going to be very interesting because Instinct usually doesn't go on duelist for Lotus. He's usually on the Clove, but doing duelist roles or at least calls. So hopefully we can expect some of that. Or can we get a lock on that? Is Instinct going to go on the Clove on Lotus and just send it up mid? No.
Probably. I don't want to spoil it, but probably a duelist.
Okay.
He doesn't want to spoil it. He's concerned. This is why I like Smiley. He's a showman. He cares about the integrity of the show.
Yeah.
Now, Smiley, I got an interesting stat that I want to run by you, provided by Val. You know, unfortunately, every time we've seen you on stream, it's been a loss for our team. Do you care to, talk about that a little bit? Defend yourself. Obviously, you're a fantastic player. Are you getting unlucky? Are you getting nervous? What's the deal? Tell me.
Let me think here.
Damn.
You guys are talking about the Harrisburg, right?
Possibly. Every time we've had you on stream, I've been told it's been a loss. Harrisburg, for sure.
Yeah, we just weren't on the same page that day. Simple as that, really.
Damn. Are you
the
afraid of
vibes
your
were
opponents?
good. No.
Should you be afraid of your opponents?
No.
Should they be afraid of you?
Maybe.
If they weren't afraid of you, and you had to make them afraid of you right now, this is your one chance to do before we go away.
What would you say?
The name speaks for itself, baby. I don't even need to say anything.
That name does not speak about being scared at all.
Come
I was
on,
going to
yeah,
say, that
that's
name's
a
like,
big
that,
one.
if I was literally going to make
Nice
Smiley, don't get me wrong, I'd get absolutely dumpstered on, but I'd be like, yeah, no, this guy's just not it. It's fine. But that's okay. Listen, he's the real deal for a reason. He's on this roster. Smiley, thank you so much for your time,
you.
and hopefully you punch your ticket to Orlando tonight.
Absolutely.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Guys, who does not love Smiley? Raise your hand if you don't love Smiley. You better not be raising your hand. But in any case, yeah, great guy. Love that guy. Always a pleasure to talk to, especially before a game. You can tell the excitement. You can tell the energy. I'm feeling that energy a little bit myself. I just feel a little silly right now. Like I just want to go out and I want to get on that stage. I want to start playing. Like I'm just feeling energetic, and I can only imagine how the boys up there are feeling because they actually have some real competition on the line, and there's a lot riding on this game. Like you said, imagine if they lose this one and they're gonna have to go.
It's going to be a very long night for us. A very long walk for myself back to the res dorm thinking, wow, we just lost to North Carolina State. There you
All
go.
I gotta say is the Big Mouse would not be happy.
Do they have like investments in St. Clair? Are they gonna defund us after this? That'd be horrifying. Man, I really hope that the Saints are able to pull this through. Of course, the numbers, the stats, the histories, the vibes all favor the Saints in this match. But of course, anything can happen. And if you get a little too cocky, get too arrogant, then that's when the surprises start to occur. And I know our team is not any strangers to surprises, but let's see if there are going to be any surprises besides Smiley here with our team lineup. I don't think there are going to be any, except it's actually going to be me, Wyatt, and Patrick stepping in. Joke's on you, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be none other than Truth, Chillin', Tillo, Smiley, and Instinct. The boys in green ready to go straight to Orlando.
They are looking stern. They are looking ready to play. I mean, there's history all along the board. We just talked to Smiley, has Tier 2 experience with Ambrosia, and then also talking with the rest of the team. I know another one that I definitely want to pull out is Chillin'. His history going from the Academy team promoted to Varsity Premier is astounding. And then the rest of the team, they've just played all around, and they are really good meshing together. Another one that I love to point out, which is actually going to be interesting to see how he adapts to this new group without Fair, will be Instinct, because I think it was you, Patrick, that mentioned it. He loves to play that aggressive Clove on Lotus, and if we see Lotus today, I'm going to be interested to see where he ends up on the duelist scale.
Yeah, you know what? It would be interesting. It's just because Lotus appears so often to the point where you can almost call it as a lock. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that we'd be seeing it in this best of 3. Again, this is going to look really bad if I'm wrong, but at the same time, I think that moving Instinct over to the Duelist is just interesting. I know that when he was brought on to this team originally in program, they were planning to basically make Instinct a Duelist, but then we were getting the breakdown from Val. Basically said when Caillou was here, it was like, okay, yeah, no, no one's playing Duelist here. I'm playing Duelist, and I'm going to show you guys how it's done. And you know what? Lo and behold, the guy's on a MAD now. So you can't really say too much about that. But I think it's going to be very interesting seeing Instinct on the Duelist role. But if it's going to be reminiscent of anything that we do see when he is playing on that Clove on Lotus, he plays super aggressive. It's going to be good. That's what I'd have to assume. He's going to be very high energy, moving all throughout the map, trying to create space, trying to force enemies in just weird positions, and just find brutal lurks and flanks.
Absolutely, and you can see the boys right now, they are channeling their energy. It looks like they're trying to summon some kind of otherworldly entity to allow them to win this 13-0 for both games in this best of 3. I'm not sure what entity they may be summoning, or maybe they just like each other.
They're trying to summon Owen Hybrid. That's what they're trying to summon is Hybrid right now.
Yeah, the demon from the north who, if rumor has it, if you, I'm trying to think about something mean to say about Owen, but I can't think of anything. He's such a nice guy, you know? Love the guy. Don't mute my microphone, please. And as the guys are chilling up there, getting through their team huddle and getting back into their chairs, it seems this game is, it's coming soon. Now, you guys are smiling and laughing at me. I'm wondering why, but I'm not going to pry any further. I just want to know what's going through your minds right now in terms of this game, anyways.
I mean, the only thing that's going through my mind is definitely a lot of stakes on the line. I mean, NCSU, they definitely could pull the upset here against the Saints. But there are, as we said, a lot of stats, a lot of history, and a lot of evidence that prove that this is going to be a hard challenge for them. Now, for the Saints, I can't think of anything else to go against them other than the fact that we now have Smiley on the roster, and he has a lot of experience.
It
came out wrong, but he has a lot of experience with the team. But he's got to mesh back in. He's got to get back into the group with the rest of the players, and obviously, I think he can do it.
1,000,000%.
I mean, do you think he can do it? Because from what we just said, what we just heard, it didn't sound like it. But moving on, sorry, Smiley. Let's go to map bans real quick as we see those are confirmed, and hopefully the bans work out. There we go. Lotus is literally the first pick, and it's not surprising at all. And we see that it's actually going to be NCSU on defense, which means St. Clair on the attack for Lotus first is going to be very interesting, seeing as that's obviously the stronger side. And we're talking about a 3-site bomb site, spike site. So again, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the Saints get off to a rolling start. If they do get off to a rolling start, we know that they're a vibes team. They like to usually ride the high wave, and if they can just kind of continue that, this series can become an absolute train that just won't be stopped very quickly going into split, if it even requires Icebox. The thing where I get worried about St. Clair is, again, because they're a very vibes-heavy team, that's a good and a bad thing. So
100%.
obviously, I've talked about it before, there are lots of times where St. Clair will dig themselves into their own graves by just mentally chalking themselves, and this is going to be something where you cannot have that happen, especially against a team who pretty much everybody and their mother is betting you as the favorite for, let alone even having it go to map 3, right? So I think that this is going to be somewhere where if the team is not clicking on a mental connectivity, if that makes any sense, if they're not mentally synchronized and they're not like just chill, this is going to be a problem. And I think that also comes down to the fact that you could see some of those moments, seeing as how Smiley hasn't played with the team for a whole lot, at least this semester.
I think the thing that you're trying to talk about, and I was talking to their coach, Seth, about this earlier, because I asked him the same kind of question. You know, Smiley's back on the roster. Have they had time to play together, practice, get every nook and cranny sorted out? And the thing that he told me is they just have to play fundamentally sound. They have to play their own game. Like you said, they have to ride the high wave. They have to play with the vibes. Now, as you also mentioned, that does leave the opportunity for North Carolina. If they can just put a brick wall in the way of their wave and just absolutely stop them, that can lead to a possible a possible harder match for Saints to try and push through, because they're not gonna have that wave to rely on going through in this best of 3 series.
Yeah, and I think getting the hardest part of their day out of the way is probably a smart strategy. Starting on defense on Lotus, they want to just cruise through this part of the series and just ride the wave of momentum of the rest. That should be relatively easy afterwards to victory lane. But as we're getting the agent select down, again, seems that morale is still high, and I just want you guys to take note of all the smiles and laughter you're seeing, because I promise you, if you see Game 2, if they lose Game 1, you won't see a single one of those afterwards. Guarantee it.
Yeah, well, looking right now, we've got Tillo obviously on the Fade. He loves to pick Fade on Lotus, and something that I've seen him do a lot is play a little bit more of that lurker role, trying to scout out some areas that might be possible to take for the Saints if they decide to, say, push over to C and then they want to revert back over to A. But the next pick that is going to interest me is going to be Instinct on Yoru. If you want to talk about that a little bit, Patrick.
Yeah, you know what? Yoru's just such a complex character, especially for people to get right. I think something that a lot of people that I've heard is, even in the pro scene, some people are waiting to see pros like unlock Yoru's top potential. I think it was actually you, if I was talking to you earlier. You had an opinion on that.
Yes.
And so I think it's very interesting that we were talking about just straight up aggression, lurks, flanks. There's literally no one better than Yoru that you could work on with Instinct for a playstyle like this. But I know you're a happy camper, because right now the Neon's been picked out by Freak. I can only imagine you're very ecstatic.
I am a happy camper, and when you talk about aggressive playstyle, I think Neon is also a great duelist that initiates that. You know, with this 3 bomb site map, Neon will just be able to be at 2 bomb sites at once, and then we're seeing some other picks out, also the Omen and Fade. It's going to be pretty interesting. Doesn't look like we're going to be seeing any Tejos on this first map.
You know, I will say, you know, it seems like Chillin and Truth were just kind of going in a little bit of a kumbaya moment.
A little bit more of a kumbaya moment, I'd say. I don't know if it's kumbaya. It seems like they're getting ready to get married, go off and run off into the sunset together. But you know, that's just what it means to be good teammates, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you. You know, the Viper and Vise combo to hold down the fort.
Damn.
You know, speaking about the Viper with Chillin, the first time I ever saw Chillin on the Academy team playing that Viper on Lotus, ironically, he like dropped like a 40 bomb, and that was what really got his name going, in at least my opinion. Everyone was like, oh my god, who's this Chillin guy? So glad that I'm seeing some shades of that. But I'm looking over at the double duelist right now that I'm seeing from NCSU. Give me your thoughts on that wide on the ISO.
You know, ISO definitely has made a little bit of a resurrection since his launch into the game. I don't think he was overly hyped in the competitive scene because there were a couple flaws to his character design, but I think now, kind of like Yoru a little bit as well, now that professionals have gotten to play him a little bit more, got to unlock what his utility actually brings to the table, I've seen him a lot on maps like Lotus, like Haven, and even a little bit like Icebox as well, where you have a couple narrow corners where you can use his abilities to push up with a wall and gain so much space for free.
Yeah, again, I think that when we're talking about Lotus, space for free is just something that you don't really have the luxury of, and because of that, it's going to be something that the ISO can definitely work off of, as we see the Neon so aggressive, already working up, and the pistol round, something that's very interesting. St. Clair, they're not particularly strong at these, and it's due to the fact that sometimes it's spoken that they lack a little bit of discipline, they lack patience, but right now, patience, we'll see if it can pay off. The Vise utility, especially Hardwire, covering out on that C site, and now Breitz is just going to have to wait so ominously as the Omen smoke is just about to vanish, and soon we will get our first engagements. However, it looks like St. Clair, they've taken the revolving door, and now they're looking for a B take as well.
Yeah, NCSU playing it a little cautious right here. No overextensions just yet. We're going to see a little bit of a trip out there from Smiley, getting rid of that Vise wall now, as Instinct prepares to get out of his smoke. Looks like Freak might be caught off a little bit here. No, Instinct's going to be the one that's caught off, but then Chillin finds a trade. And now through the wall, looks like I'm Bueno is going to find one onto Chillin.
And again, you know what, as picks just trade back and forth, St. Clair, they're getting a little bit stuck right now. They're not really dealing with this B-link pressure at all, and they're just going to try to force it onto site around tree. And with that being said, a player drops into hell. It's going to be generic, just waiting, but no, Tillo hits the headshot. and puts him down. Spike planted, and now in the post-plant situation, 3v3. We'll see how NCSU can try to man their retake.
Looks like they're trying to go around now, and Brits trying to cause a little bit of mischief. Truth might be caught in a little bit of a blender here. Brits takes him out now, but traded out. Now, it's still in 2v2 scenario. Tillo does not have a lot of HP to play with, so if he's hit here, it could mean game over. Game over now, but it's all up to Smiley. Can he get it for him? And welcome back, Smiley, to the St. Clair Saints varsity roster. What a way to welcome him back.
Well, you know what? Contradictory to what you said, Wyatt, about how Smiley is definitely going to be bringing losses to St. Clair. I'm just
Let's forget about it.
I'm harping on that too much. He really is showing up here tonight, at least early on. A great job to confirm the pistol round. Not something that we're usually used to seeing go the right way for St. Clair, so already off to a decent start. And, well, if the vibes are immaculate, hopefully they'll just continue to roll. But at the very minimum, they'll have a huge economic advantage going into round 2.
Yeah, North Carolina, interesting start from them. Looks like they're mainly focused up towards B to try and handle any kind of aggression there. Looks like Chillin has taken Tillo's position as well as he's going over towards A. But now, St. Clair just trying to scout out any areas. They're going to be walking up C a little bit as well. Instinct trying to spot somebody out, playing that aggressive duelist composition. He's going to throw that TP back as well, as Chillin also explores up towards A. Might be able to find one off start. He does! And now it's all beelining towards A, because Chillin has control and NCSU have to take it back.
Well, immediately I'm going to say right there is the beautiful shot there from the Sheriff. Puts down Chillin. It's a gun that they have now, too. This is the second time I've seen NCSU in a row at least put 3 onto B, and, well, it hasn't necessarily worked out for them in just yet. I think that it kind of left that A site just too open. You stack too many cards, but we'll have to see if they can form the retake. Freak with the drop down, just trying to bait out that player in tree. Smiley, they're just evading each other so well, but now the shots are known. Device util coming down. Tillo trying to find one on the tracker, and he's going to be able to do so. Knows the position. Instinct cleans up one with the Guardian. Gets traded back out by Freak, and Freak advancing up through that hell position. Truth just trying to sit tight. Breach with one as well. It's actually St. Clair who need to try to form the comeback, and 3 unanswered picks will give them the answers to the questions they were looking for. St. Clair take round 2 in decent fashion.
Quick round over to the boys. You know, we saw a little bit of smiles earlier on, but now it is all locked in. We can see Mr. Fair himself there, and then also Chillin and the rest of the boys going down the line. Look at Tillo himself, or Instinct himself. Beautiful, ready to play. Smiley, there's no more smiles. It's all game. It's ready to go, 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 go. And so far, that's all they've been doing so far. They've been playing very well, a little more conserved, and they've gotten aggressive in the right moments when they've been able to take some space off of NCSU.
You know, I think if anything, I'm most interested to see just what Freak on the Neon does with these early engagements into that A spawn. So, again, nothing really happened there, but St. Clair, it seems like they're just not hiding any sort of baits or anything. They're just full sending it onto that A site. Freak, the first one to go down, and a crazy shot there from Instinct. The one tap puts down Freak, but then Embueno finds the second. So right now, St. Clair, they're kind of at a little bit of a standing halt right now. At the same time, NCSU, they're pulling it back to try to establish the ISO on the heaven position. When doing so, St. Clair, they're going to have to double stack up, but the Omen cuts down 2 with the Vandal. A 3K, and all of a sudden, St. Clair, this round goes ugly quick.
He is, and definitely Bueno, doing more than Bueno if I had to say so myself. And right now, NCSU have the lead here, something that they haven't seen in the past 2 games so far. But you know what? There are still 2 Saints players left, and this could all change in an instant. Tillo has the bomb, and looking to move up with Chillin soon. I mean, we talked about that duo before.
30
Looks like
seconds
they're going to
left.
play pretty well going up here. Unless SCSU have something to say about it. Looks like Embueno is going to get one more, but not going to be able to find the ace because Chillin's going to take him out. And now it's all up to Generic and Brietz.
Again, you know, Chillin in these situations, he's been able to make them work before. A beautiful headshot. But with 10 seconds left, you have to plant B, and immediately Chillin picks his spot. The ISO making his way through B-Link, and this is going to be the positions known. Chillin knows that he has to either come from there or heaven. He's looking the right way. The gunfight ensues. 13 health, though. He's so low and just can't quite get away in time. Generic had to land one more shot, and he did just that. Perfect timing as NCSU get their first on the board.
You know, it's a great round to NCSU. They've got one on the board now, as you said. Saints have got a little bit of their foot stubbed at the door right now, and all I can say right now is that was left solely up to I'm Bueno. I mean, he found the 4K, found 2 through the wall onto, I believe it was Smiley, and then also
I think
Instinct.
Truth, because it was the Vise, right?
Yes, it was Smiley and Truth. So that was great early pick to get on, and then the rest of the round just flooded through there. We saw a almost masterclass play from Chillin trying to resurrect the round and get in their favor,
Yeah.
but it wasn't enough, sadly.
Yeah, you know what? It is just tough because you have to take so long to just reset your initial plan, and everyone just had to pull back. And at the end of the day, Chillin, on another day, he lands those shots that we saw through the B-Link. But right now, you can't have time to focus on that. Generic, you don't have to worry about your last clutch. You got to worry about this round, but you're not going to have much to worry about because Smiley's just put you down for the count. The shotgun from Breach, though, is going to get Instinct out. And now, Bueno with 1. I thought he was going to get the second, but it's good that the Fade was playing the double stack with him. Smiley able to find one before the Vise wall goes up. Has been able to bait it, but is in such a precarious position. You really wonder how he's going to play around this one. He's going to opt for the Omen ult now, the reposition. And he's going to take it now onto that A side. He's found out by the Neon, though, so that has been calmed. And now it's going to be very interesting to see what Smiley can do in this scenario with that bomb of Chillin swiftly making his way over to Tree.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a hard scenario because Chillin's not going to get onto this site where Smiley is already there. He's going to take another one down, looking to take another around this corner. Smoke does not hit Nuthium, and now it looks like they're going to actually back up. They're not going to go over towards
Wow, that's
A,
crazy
and they
rotate.
are going to be going towards B. That was absolutely a great rotate. Smiley might catch one off guard here. Looks like he's just going to be tapping him a little bit of dance left and right. Chillin's going to pop down the ult now, and that almost certainly will secure the round for them.
Well, you know what? Barring a generational throw, it really should, or maybe a lucky wall bang, but they're going to have to come through soon. Smiley playing so aggressive on this Viper Pit, trying to look for one through the smoke, but you have to wonder, maybe some patience should have been shown. Chillin finds one, though. Patience the name of the game, but Freak has that shotgun on him. It's going to be the exposure. It's going to be Chillin who can land the final shots, though, to deal the final blow. And St. Clair, they find their third on Lotus.
Great analysis of the situation from Chillin. You know, he could have just gone back into his ult, his little safety bubble, and tried to deal with Freak there. But you know what? He identified that Freak had a shotgun, and he'd better play from a longer distance rather than close quarters, because that could have almost certainly given Freak the round.
Yeah, you know what? That's the number one thing I thought was so interesting there is the fact that if you are maybe Smiley earlier in the round, maybe that's why you wanted to get out of that Viper pick, because the calm goes down, the Neon is running a shotgun, so you don't want to take your chances close range, but regardless, St. Clair, they come out on top of that one, and now look like they're really trying to work their way onto this A site. The Viper wall's gone down, and they were baiting a little bit with those Omen smokes on to C, but now they're just going to work their way over to A. No one really on B-Link either. Look, again, seems like we see NCSU, they really love this triple stack on B because it just leaves enough time to rotate to either or site because of the fact that in Lotus, a site with 3 bombs, you don't really necessarily want to be moving so late in the round. You want to get those through early, and timing is key.
You know, the rotations might be quicker from B, but it's about the retake because it has been if it's been quicker, because so far the retakes from SDSU have not been too good.
Yeah.
Truth's gonna battle out a little bit here from Freak. Another bomb is down on A. Truth's gonna find a couple bullets to the head from I'm Bueno, and now it's equal on both sides. Generic might look to change that, a little bit of a spray through the smoke wall, but nothing just yet.
Well, again, I think that Smiley is just dug in here and is in a really good position. It's the ISO util that comes through, but now Smiley blinded. It's a good job from Chillin. The double tap gets taken down by Tillo, but the trade comes out from Breets. Flash comes around the corner. Weapons are going to be jammed soon, and Breets has acted on this perfectly. Finds 3, and now can try to bait with the defuse in this 1v1. Has to land the shots, but no! Smiley with the headshot is going to confirm everything, just barely makes it out of that Spike's death zone and is able to keep his Phantom for another day.
You know, we may not have a breach, we may not have a Tejo, but you know, Omen can still use his utility to stall out that bomb. And you know what? It's just some great aim to see on the pitch for Smiley so far. Has been really a clutch player for the Saints, and I'm enjoying seeing that. I'm enjoying seeing him light up. I'm enjoying seeing him help the Saints break their curse of the pistol rounds, and now it looks like they're running on all cylinders.
Yeah, it really does. And again, this is good from St. Clair because especially when you're starting on the Lotus attack, you want to confirm as many rounds as possible because of the fact that when you swap over, it's so much harder to defend on this map. So, if anything, I don't really think that NCSU have too much to worry about despite the fact that they're taking a timeout. They're probably just making sure that they're trying to break Saints' momentum right now and just slow it down the tempo. Because if you can just get that second, third, and even that fourth round, you get 4 rounds on a Lotus defense. Honestly, that ain't half bad. It's not half bad considering what you are able to do on the attacking side. Now, granted, because of the talent of the squad you're facing, yeah, that, is a little more difficult to deal with, but as of right now, NCSU, this timeout, in my opinion, has been used perfectly because it's not too late. But at the same time, I don't think it's necessarily too early as well. You let the 5-1 happen. I don't know if I'm necessarily a big fan of that, so I kind of like where they've taken this.
Great aggression so far from NCSU over on A. You know, they may not have the greatest buy here, but they can still play up close and personal, as Freak tried to get a little freaky right there, up close and personal, and had to back off a little bit as well. Has left Saints in a little bit of a close quarters right now, trying to just spray out and find someone. Tillo is going to be able to find Freak the wall there, trying to find Nuthium as well, as he's left with just a sliver of HP, and now the Saints are gearing up towards a C hit.
Well, you know what? That's 2 sprayed down by the Odin. That LMG just rips through the health bars of Breach and Freak, and now, as a site engagement comes through, I really thought that Bueno was the one who pulled the triggers first, but now Generic gonna see if he can find anything else. Gets chillin', but gets traded out immediately by Tillo as well, and well, this one all but over in my opinion. 10 health to Nuthium, and immediately when the swing comes through, yeah, it should be done and dusted. Tillo with a 3K from the LMG, looking very smooth, calm, and collected. Smiles, fist bumps going around the tables. Saints are looking good.
This is the kind of vibes wave that we want to see out from the Saints, because once they ride this high, there's no stopping them. They're not going back down. They're going to keep riding it for the entire game, and it's going to end in their favor. And this is where the rest of the game is looking to go. It looks already as if Saints have secured it by how positive, how confident they've been showing in this game. And NCSU have just seemed really shut out so far, but maybe this bye can turn it around for them.
I mean, I don't know if it's going to turn it around for Freak. He's already at 11 health. We already saw what happened last time. He was lowered to basically under 15, and well, it was a spray through the wall. Odin, you're gone. But now, St. Clair, they baited this out well because they're just exploding onto the C site right now, and as these comms come through, it's going to be NCSU. They start pulling away, but now the wrap happens. And look at how many bodies are just going around that B as well. You have to wonder, are they going to just all stack up? And 4R, the Neon's the only one who's going to go down through Waterfall side, so they're not really splitting up here. They're really trying to quad stack up and just work off of trades, I guess. The Fade ult comes through as well. Truth with the first one on a Generic. And now the waiting game ensues as St. Clair. They don't have to play aggressive, just hold your crosses and you'll be able to do all the work from there. Breach able to go down as Chillin finds him, and now Freak, that regen shield is going to come in clutch. It's going to be able to take down Chillin, swinging the quarter. It's going to be Instinct with 1, but Nuthium finds 3! 2 with the Odin right there, and Tillo has to find these picks. Where is he? Can he try to get a wall bang? No, nothing happens. And it's just going to be not in St. Clair's favor, not their ballpark, not their round. But for NCSU, honestly, contrary to how that retake started and what the minimap looked like, they did pretty damn good there.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a great round to them. Seems like Tillo was just a little out of the game for a moment, just stuck over on A. You know, he just loved that site so much, he just couldn't let it up for anything. And now, you know, they got a little bit of traction behind them. I can definitely see North Carolina taking a couple more rounds after this, having that momentum. And now definitely, I'm going to be looking to see what Freak does with his Neon ult here. Going to get a little aggressive, going to push up definitely, but nothing so far, as it looks like players are just standing around right now. Might have, yes, indeed, a little bit of a tech pause right now, as it turns out Tillo did have a couple PC issues.
Yeah, you know, we hear it's just a little bit of a PC crash, so we should be in shortly. Just might take a couple minutes to figure out. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. St. Clair, you know, again, Tillo saving in that last round is no big deal either. It's good just to save up the economy. We saw that he had, what, about 5,700, maybe a little bit in change as well, but I think I'm remembering that correctly. As St. Clair, they're just trying to make sure they have a little bit of expenses to spend upon if needed be. But you know what? I think they're looking pretty good. And if it's anything to point out for NCSU, I'm glad that I saw that last round 7 retake out of them, because the retakes were looking a little bit weak to start off. But it feels like they're getting faster with pacing as time goes on. They're getting more comfortable as well to how St. Clair plays on that offense. Nuthium able to find the wallbang onto Tillo. Sometimes a fresh PC doesn't necessarily matter. It just, you know, it's too soon and too early. So Nuthium with the first pick there is going to be a good opener. And now St. Clair, so the spike has gone, at least cold in spawn for now. They're just trying to find a pick to work off of. C has been taken, but what will they do with this info? They've actually elected to just completely pull back, as they're hoping the pick on C will then make NCSU all rotate over that C site, and hopefully that'll leave A open, and that's exactly what they've done. Is now St. Clair, they explode onto the A site for their execute.
Yep, they're going to explode onto here. Smiley's going to find one pick onto Freak, and now it looks like they've got the site for themselves. But look at this flank from Generic. Could pay dividends if it is caught on the right time. Instinct is going to find a couple blows to the head right now, and Generic keeps his presence unknown. He could be really valuable here for NCSU.
Again, though, St. Clair, they have that Viper Pit down, and Nuthium on 13 health. It's definitely not going to get a whole lot better when you enter that Viper Pit. Generic with a huge wallbang, though, you know, just assisted by that Fade Util. Bueno with an amazing shot onto Smiley as well. Chillin has to pull off the clutch. Is definitely no stranger to these situations, but especially with Generic tapping on that defuse already or holding, and then the Viper Pit gone. You find one, but you're not going to be able to deal with the second, as Bueno able to get the flick over and deal with the issue, as NCSU pretty good now, and all of a sudden the tables are kind of turning. That's 2 rounds in the bounce, especially on Lotus defense. They're doing it pretty good for themselves.
So far, it's seemed that out from North Carolina, a lot of the rounds that they're winning is from surprise picks. I mean, we saw that early round out from I'm Bueno, where he got the double pick onto Truth and then also Smiley, which definitely turned the tables for them. And then that round as well, Generic was able to get behind them and got a pick of his own, which just surprised the Saints. And I think that is going to be what they try to throw at their Vibes Wave, is just a couple pebbles in the midst to try and lower how high they are soaring so far.
Right now, St. Clair, they need to not just be soaring, they need to be flapping the wings aggressively, they need to be flying onto site here as they try to do that. The Fade Util trying to alert NCSU that they should really just get out and give that site over. It's going to be without some pushback, but the Vibes will go down due to that notion. And now St. Clair onto the site, spike down as Smiley finds another headshot. That ISO wall comes through, and that should reveal the position at least of the ISO to St. Clair. Instinct in the perfect position, just has to hold this cross, no reason to have to swing. The call gets thrown out that there's one waterfall, you can act on it. Instinct backing up now. And this is great. St. Clair, they're just peeling back whenever they take ground and take a pick, and honestly, it's just looking like they're completely drowning NCSU out.
They are indeed, and they're going to take one more. One left, I'm Bueno. The Saints are hungry for it. The claws are out, and they're ready to try and figure out where he is to lead him not to save this gun. He's going to be able to find one onto Instinct, but his location is revealed, so he's got to get out of there as fast as he can. Looks like Tillo's going to try to take him out, and Truth is the one to finish him off, not leaving any bodies to survive for the next round.
Yeah, again, St. Clair, you know what? I mean, the round's pretty much already confirmed. Why not just hunt him down like the Griffins we are and find the final kill? As now they confirm their 6th. And St. Clair, they get back into the winning column. And look, especially looking at the utility and just the funds right now that NCSU have, so huge that they were losing all of their guns. They're just kind of screwed over right now in the utility game, but we'll have to see. This is a good ult here from Instinct, just gathering all this intel on C for St. Clair, and hopefully they can act upon it. Nuthium caught a little bit too far in. It's going to get wall banged, and Bueno finds the refrag onto Instinct. This should give the space with the fade gone from NCSU for the spike to be planted, and there it is. So next, it's going to be NCSU's retake, and we'll see if they've made any improvements.
Looks like they're doing a bit of a pass the gun around. I think it was Freak passing it over to I'm Bueno. Down has a Vandal might be Generic as well. Has some guns to use right now. But Chillin has found a perfect scenario, but it doesn't even matter because Smiley is there though. Freak unlocks his ult now. The full potential has come out. He's going to try to find a little bit of Chillin right there. Finds him now. There's one left for them. It's all up to Truth to try and get through this Lightning, but it is not going to happen for him. Lightning will not strike first. Truth will.
Well, you know what? That is incredible. We thought that the Neon had that one down to wraps. You have the bonus on the mobility, the Lightning as well. Just so much damage so quickly, but Truth proves that sometimes bullets are all you need in this equation. He finds the answers to St. Clair's problems, able to stop NCSU on their retake, get them another one, and, well, it's definitely looking good here. St. Clair, I believe, now have their 7th. We'll see how they kind of look to take this. They've had 2 straight takes onto C right now as they've tried to bait A, but it looks like they're just trying to full send it onto A again, especially now that the St. Clair knows that 3 are on B due to Truth. They are now going to act upon this execution. Smiley finds the headshot onto Breets, and now St. Clair, they should have the safe site for free.
I'm Bueno is going to be able to find one there onto Chillin. The plant's not going to come down from Tillo as well. The ult out as well from Nuthium. He's going to be able to find Instinct, but Instinct is able to find one. Doesn't find another though. Finds Death, and now it's even 2-2. But NCSU have a couple ults to use.
Yeah, you know what? It's just unfortunate. Tillo, they just can't clear him out of tree, in St. Clair, they do it via bloodshed. Tillo finding multiple picks in tree will slaughter this one out. St. Clair, they claim their 8th, and with the opportunity to have a potential 9-3 split, this round is huge for NCSU. This is your chance to bag that 4th crucial round, in my opinion, when you're talking about Lotus defenses, or you fall 9-3 and all of a sudden it kind of just becomes a game potentially over if you lose the pistol round.
Indeed, and if it's not the guns that are going to help Saints here, it's definitely going to be their utility and their ultimates. I mean, there's basically 4 up for Saints right now. NCSU have some of their own, but have not been able to use some of them just yet. Looks like Generic's going to be using his ult out, but doesn't find value of it though. He's going to be able to take Chillin out. That's 1 down, a couple more to go. Freak finds the 2nd, and now 3 Griffins remain.
You know, I'm really curious on who's going to win the 1v1 right there. Is Generic now? We saw him pop the ult, but seems like nothing happened. Is now Generic finds another. Sometimes you don't have to hit the ISO ult on anyone. If you just hit your shots and find your headshots in the actual map, you know, that's a way to kill a person as well. So Instinct now trying to bait in some util. It seems like NCSU, they're trying to rotate over from that B site, looking to take the Heaven approach. Hell has already been dived on, though, by Bueno, and now Instinct just waiting in tree with open arms. Smiley holding the cross as well. They've had to herd the drop, surely, but now the Visol comes through. Primary is going to be jammed. The teleport is great, though, for Smiley. He's able to keep that Phantom up, and now the Omen ult. This is massive. You have the spike, you're able to have the C site for free. All you have to do is start that plan. It's a good job of trigger discipline right now from Instinct. But no, he waits just too long, and Nuthium saves the ISO.
10 seconds left.
So close to getting some major value there, but you know what? You should have just taken it and ran with the wind. There was just one behind you, and you know Nuthium was just able to find it out. Now it's the 1v4 scenario for Smiley. He's gonna play a little off-site here, just in the crosshairs. Gonna try to find a couple heads here. Finds one. TP's in now. Might be able to find a second. He does. 3 on the count. 2 remain, but not gonna be possible because Generic is going to shut him down. And now they end out the first half 8-4.
Yeah, you know what? It's huge round from NCSU, but you really got to be kicking yourself a little bit there if you're Instinct. You had the pick. I get it. I think it was honestly a great play of trigger discipline, but sometimes when you play around for just too long, things will not go your way, as we see that Nuthium eventually finds him there. And that's huge then if you think about it in the long run, because without the ISO there, potentially, even if the trade comes through, we take a look at that situation again, that then becomes just a 1v1, right? I know it could have played out differently based on those components if you're doing the retake on a 3v1 rather than a 4v1, but at the same time, you know, if you're able to find 2, as Smiley would have been able to think that maybe there would have been that much more of a glimmer of hope that you would have been able to clutch it out. So St. Clair, they're going to now have to start on this defense, but this is still a huge pistol round just because the conversion. If you're not careful, NCSU, you give up this round and let St. Clair take 9-4, you can almost certainly write off 10-4 as well.
Indeed. Coming up to it now, Saints having a little bit of a similar playstyle to the NCSU, being aggressive up towards B, but now it looks like they're going to revert over to B. No, rather going to be faking it and gearing up towards C, but you know Saints, they just got telepathy and they know exactly where they're going to hit. Instincts gets the first one, Tillo with the second now, 2 down and 3 remain. Generic on very low HP right there, trying to remain aggressive, but Tillo's going to take him out. Smiley for another, and it's all but I'm Bueno left. An Instinct there as the aggressive Yoru player. He is taking Saints' 9th round.
Well, that was absolutely chaotic. St. Clair, it's like hunting mice in a desert for the Griffins. They just walk them down on C Mound, and sometimes that aggression, that's just all you need. You know what? Someone who plays so aggressively on that defense, when we saw on Lotus, previous Lotus matches before, is actually Instinct on the Clove. So I'm really trying to think back to when I do see Instinct getting very aggressive with the lurks and the flanks. And come to think about it, it usually is when St. Clair are on defense on Lotus. So I think with the Yoru, it's going to be very interesting to see how that one plays out. But right now, NCSU, they're not wasting any time. They're going straight for that A site. It's going to get messy and quickly here. Bueno just recovering from that decay effect as Nuthium's going to find the first one on the true. Some good shots from Instinct. Finds 2 with the Outlaw, but now Freak takes him down and takes his arms as well in the process. Breets plays this one very close quarters, but Smiley still with the Guardian can do a lot of damage here. Has to watch out for Freak, is the one win condition right now for NCSU and is proving that very well as takes down Tillo. Smiley with the trade, but now the picks come through. Chillin with 1 onto Generic, but Freak trades back. It's just back and forth. This Neon is the only thing keeping NCSU in the mix. But Viper, Chillin is going to deny them everything as St. Clair have that juicy 10-4 that I talked about earlier.
You know, Neon just got a little bit jumpy there, but Chillin was ready for it. And now only 3 rounds away from Saints taking their first game in this best of 3. And if I believe so, once they take this one, we're going to be seeing Split.
Yes, Split would be next up in the map pool. And again, you know, this is a very interesting one because Split is so often banned out, at least whenever I'm casting Valorant for St. Clair on the desk. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play around with it. And I know it's not one of the maps that I've seen them prefer to go to, but usually that's just said for any team in general. So I think it's very interesting that NCSU picked into this.
Indeed. Definitely not one of their favorites. They have some bad history off in Istanbul, losing on that map, and now maybe they'll get a little bit of redemption once we see that, but you know, we gotta focus on Lotus right now. We gotta focus on Freak, trying to remain aggressive. Everybody is on this A party. Looks like Chillin is the only one uninvited. And Truth is trying to start it out with some heavy fire, but no, Nuthium's gonna find him. Freak's gonna find another. Looking to find another one onto Tillo. Tillo answers back though, and now Smiley and Chillin are left to deal with the barrage of North Carolina.
But at the same time, I think the damage has most definitely been done. North Carolina, they have a decent setup right now on A. They just have to be wary of Chillin on the flank. Smiley finds one, but is going to get traded out immediately. And now, with the positions known, Chillin tries to make an advance through a tree, but he's not going to be able to swing off the vine this time. Gets shot off of it instead. Not able to make that transfer over. But St. Clair, still looking good. NCSU, they bag their 5th. And in good fashion at that. A beautiful play from them to just really bait out as they were doing before. Nah, screw that. We're just going to now full-on rush it, send it, activate the Neon ult, and just take as much space as we can. It's something that sometimes catches a lot of teams off guard, especially on a map like Lotus where your defense has to spread out throughout 3 sites. It really is lethal when you just have that quick rush.
It is indeed, and it's the element of surprise that also helps them here. Freak might be able to surprise someone here, but no, he's just going to back off as the rest of his team gears towards a C hit now. We've got Brett's ready as well, but Chillin is there. Going to place down a Molly as well to stop them a little bit while the rest of the Saints are looking to go on a flank. Looks like we've got Smiley and Tillo there. No, just Smiley now, ready to try and surprise them from behind. Chillin up here, trying to take someone out, but no, is only met with rain, fire. Freak finds him out. Smiley is able to find one. Instinct and Truth find 2 of their own. And now Generic going to try to mount a comeback. Finds Instinct. 3 remain. The numbers in St. Clair's favor. And it's all up to Nuthium. Can he mount the 1v3? Finds one.
Huge shot.
2 more remain. 1 on site, 1 off. Spike control not in his hands. Might be able to find Truth here. Does. But now he's got to find Tillo. Pops the ult down. But no, Tillo is just going to get out of its way.
But again, on C Mound, these shots could just go any way, but the wall bang headshot finds Tillo's fate first, at least the one doling it out. St. Clair, really well played there, and also the Fade ultimate gone for NCSU, so a little bit of a tough scenario there for them, as that one's got to be a little bit mentally stifling.
It does indeed have to be a little mentally stifling. I mean, we can see the Saints here. Looks like they're actually getting a little tired right now. You know, it's just about Betty Bye time for most of these players. They got a big trip ahead of them if they pass on this game, going over to Orlando. But you know what? They got to get through it first. They got to muscle through. They got to push through. And they got to be able to take this game in a respectful 2-0 fashion. But it looks like we might be getting a little bit of a timeout here.
Yeah, and I'm not very surprised at all to see, but you know what? I will say this is the surprising factor to me right now. Smiley, right, usually, I said that when he plays for St. Clair, usually hopping on to the Initiator. That didn't happen, hopped onto the Omen, but look at the impact he's had. 22 and 11 so far, is having an absolutely crazy game. But at the end of the day, the thing I care about most is that observer angle straight on the Viper face mask. I mean, that is absolutely beautiful.
I mean,
who thought of such artistry?
I mean, you talk about impact, talking about the impact Chillin has on that screen. Look at that beautiful face that we saw before. That is the kind of face that wants to go to Orlando. That's the kind of face that wants to go see the big mouse, please him in this game, and take it into a fashion.
Well, you know what? We have to hope that your words come into fruition, Wyatt, but right now, we have more Valorant to play, as now this one off to a hot start. Breach finds the Yoru, but Smiley trades it right back out. And now it's going to be NCSU. They're done playing games. They're doing it twice in a row right now where they just completely explode onto the A site using that Neon's mobility to spearhead them through. But Chillin is going to cut the head off of that spear, immediately finds the first pick. This is going to be a decent, or at least what I thought was a decent setup for an ult for Freak, but Smiley taking names. Generic, the position's known. You're double stacked up. You have to take him down, St. Clair, and you've done just that. A good job there from Truth and Tillo. They find the confirm, and they find, potentially, match point, map point.
Smiley almost there for a possible ace if he could have found the fourth and possibly the fifth there. But you know, there was just one hiding around the corner, and he had his flash ready to try and get anybody out of a far position. Just didn't plan for anybody close and kind of got caught with his pants down a little bit with his utility out. But you know what? Nonetheless, the rest of the Saints are there to clean it up, and now they're just one away from taking Lotus to themselves.
Yeah, again, you know what? I think that I'm less now thinking about the actual rest of this map of Lotus, and I'm more, if anything, centered around, my thoughts are centered around what St. Clair are going to look like on Split. This was somewhere where, you know, they lost last year in the Red Bull Campus Clutch to Peru. So since then, I haven't really seen them actually on Split at all, so I think that that's going to be a very big step or hurdle for them to clear. But at the same time, only time will tell if they can get that job done. But right now, we're not even there. You have to focus on this round and this round only as Instinct. With that Yoru ult has completely flanked the entire team. Or has actually tried to pull back now, so he's now going to recite on B. And now look at just all the action going down on C Mound. Wyatt, the ISO finds one of the 1v1. Shorty out for a second. It's not the right weapon, and Generic is going to take down Truth as the opener. Freak with another onto Instinct. And you really have to wonder, St. Clair, are they getting a little too over-aggressive? There's no reason to give this many picks this deep into C-Mound anyway. And remember, you're the team on defense here.
Indeed, and Smiley, you'll be able to find breath there with a quick cancel of the ultimate now. Looks like Bueno is just going to meet him with his own ultimate cancel right now, and starting at C, going over to A, now finalizing their destination at B. Looks like they're set to take it as Smiley is in another 1v4 scenario. Let's see if he can get a little bit of redemption from the last time he was in this same spot.
Well, you know what, I wouldn't necessarily write him off, but at the same time, can you really blame the guy if he doesn't pull this one off? I mean, these clutch scenarios are so difficult to pull back, especially when we're talking about 1v3 plus, and while we've seen him in quite a few of those today so far, actually, you have to hope that's not a trend that St. Clair are willing to follow. And yeah, you know what, maybe it's just better if you just play around C, Smiley, just see if you can find any picks, but ultimately with the goal of saving in mind.
Indeed, as he looks to save right here. Might be able to find Bueno out here, but no, they're just going to be able to cross paths. Doesn't notice any of them. Smiley will be able to find Freak as his location is now figured out, but nobody's going to be able to find him.
Oh, that's horrible.
I am so wrong.
That's horrible. Smiley, no. So close. But you will not be able to keep your gun for next round, good sir. That's okay, though, as the name suggests. Smiles, fist bumps all around. Again, like I said earlier, you wouldn't think, looking at the name, that he would be any threat. But sometimes it's always the ones who look the happiest that bring out the most passion in game. And it definitely seems like Smiley has been turning it up a notch. 27 so far to boot.
Indeed, he has. Brett has also been turning it up, though. I think that's probably the third round in a row where he's found a first pick onto the Saints. Instinct looking to change that. Has the flash out, has to jump right back because he almost was met with a couple shots out from Brett's. But, you know, Freak going to be able to find Smiley here. Did not expect them on the rotate back. Now Instinct is also up very far. Going to TP back now, save his life as Freak comes running down, trying to find him as well. He's going to find Truth, though. And now Saints are yet again in a disadvantage in player numbers.
Yeah, again, you know what? When your back is up against a wall, NCSU, they've proven that they're not ones who just fall flat easily. They seem to be mounting a little bit of a comeback now, and, well, as the map would suggest, that's what you would expect on Lotus, but at the same time, you need to go flawless, and St. Clair, they just need NCSU to make one mistake, one slip-up to capitalize on it. Tillo takes down Freak, stacking up very aggressively, but Bueno will be able to land the required shots. So NCSU, they're doing a good job right now of at least making it a close round count, but again, as I previously stated, you have to go flawless from here on out, and against this St. Clair lineup, that is, well, in my opinion, looking at the stakes and everything ahead, It's going to be a near impossible task. I'm going to go ahead and say that.
It is a near impossible task, but I think they're kind of figuring out some of the cracks that Saints have right now. You know, after they find that first pick, I know you and me kind of witnessed it, watching a little bit of their scrims in practice before. They see them to shut down a little bit, and a lot of communication kind of dwindles, and that might look to be repeated here as I'm Bueno is going to find the first pick onto Chillin. Let's see if Tillo can possibly change that. The Nightmare's now out, going to try to find someone. Trail is found for one of them, and two are behind these boxes here. Freak and Nuthium going to be able to find themselves saved. No, Nuthium is going to catch some bullets over from Smiley, but the spike is picked up, and now NCSU have to make a decision on where they want to go.
Right, I mean, that's the advantage. If you just don't sell your bodies, you can also have the timer being your 5th or 6th man in this account. And now, St. Clair, they're doing a good job of just playing passive. This is perfectly how I'd handle the situation. Let the Vise utility speak for itself on C. Don't force anything over, and at the same time, you can just have Smiley watching A. We'll be having to peek onto an op, though, that we
30
do
seconds left.
see, I believe, yeah, Bueno on. So you just got to be very careful about how you play this. Tree is going to get hit up, and that's going to be the main focal point of the push. Visol goes down as well. Weapons jam, but it's a huge pick for Instinct. Finds two for Truth as well. Is on a rampage. The op shots, it can't come through. You have to grab the spike eventually, and Truth is just waiting with open arms. Swings from hell, takes 3 and the map for St. Clair.
You know, the only thing left to stand is Truth. And now Saints have dominated Lotus, as we know they always love to do. But, you know, as we mentioned before, it might not look like such a dominant fashion on our next map of Split, talking about their recent history with it not being that great.
Yeah, you know what, it's definitely going to be interesting, and there's not really a lot of pregame that I can even talk about there, because there's not a lot of really history that I see in terms of what agents we can have on Split. I haven't really seen them play as of recently. So, again, I think it's going to be interesting, but the calls are going to have to be made. Eventually, someone's going to have to come through for St. Clair if they want to take this in 2-0 fashion. If it went to that third map, Icebox, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable for St. Clair there. The problem with it going to map 3 is, are they going to be mentally stable if they get a map taken off of them, right? That's the number one thing in question is, would they be quiet? Would they be shut down? I remember you were saying earlier, we were literally watching them in their scrims right before the game went on, and we took a couple of notes in what we were seeing. And usually when St. Clair, sometimes the round doesn't even end. It could just even be the first person that gets picked off the board. Sometimes they're frustrated, they don't talk, and I think it's the number one thing is that they don't communicate as much as maybe they could be, right? I get it, Smiley's your IGL, but even when he's dead sometimes, he's not giving out too much communication, at least in the scrims that we saw. And sure, that could be a write-off, a one-off occurrence, but if you do that sort of stuff inside of an actual game that matters, or a series that matters like this one, right? I mean, that could just immediately bottleneck you very quickly if you're not careful.
Indeed, it could. And I mean, you talk about first picks. It seems like we had our first pick on the desk here. Mr. Daniil Betterson-McGee not going to be joining us for the rest of the cast.
Tried to ego chow C-Long with a classic, and the other person, well, he had a Vandal. Didn't go so well for him, but, you know, hopefully, as the round timer goes down, maybe we'll have him respawn, or maybe he's just DC'd from the server entirely. Who knows?
We don't know. Maybe he has. Maybe he hasn't. Maybe he'll make a surprise periods back on here. But what we do know is that Saints are headed over to Split. And as you were talking, I would also not be the saddest if they made it to Icebox, but it would concern me because the way that you explained it and the way I'm also explaining it also is they have that hot wave riding a high right now. The vibes are there. We saw the smiles out. We saw the confidence. We witnessed them together as a team, but will that continue if they get slammed in a round on splits? Taking a look at the stats right now, 13-7 looks like
Smiley,
it was
Smiley
all
masterclass. It was just all omens. If you picked Omen, you had a good day. That's all that tells me. No, I mean, looking at it from a numbers perspective, Smiley with 28, 14, 2.0 KD, 357 on the average combat score. Absolutely freakish numbers there, as Bueno as well was kind of really the only sort of semblance of life, in my opinion, the one to really get the wheels turning for North Carolina State. So again, sometimes Freak was able to find that first pick, but I feel like usually when it came to those first engagements was usually on the worse end of the trade. But Bueno, was that sort of shining light for NCSU, but this shining light, this beam of sunshine, Smiley, as I heard him coined that last time at the Saints Athletic Banquet, April 17th for all those invited. Show up, show out, be there. Those numbers are nothing to look down upon. Completely amazing stuff there from Smiley, and well, you have to hope that he's keeping that same energy going into Split, because last time, at least that I saw them on Split, didn't go so well.
I mean, you know what? Time will tell, and a lot of time invested into practicing Split can change it definitely for them. But you know what time will also tell is when we get back from this short little break, who will take the next map? Will it be NCSU finally meeting Saints in a 1-1 fashion to take it to Game 3, or will your St. Clair Saints take it in a 2-0 fashion, punching their ticket over to Orlando? Time will tell, and we will see you all after this short break.
Gentlemen, you may think it is Halloween with how scary those games were, but everybody knows it's Christmas time here at St. Clair College. I'm joking, of course. Gentlemen, that was quite the game one. The Saints obviously coming out on top. The high morale of the team has not dipped, it has not waned. The players are all laughing, smiling, still having a great time. I want you guys, in your professional high-level opinion, Patrick Smote Chambers and Wyatt Swag Rapson, tell me what's going on in your brains after that one.
I mean, we kind of expected it out from the Saints. They love Lotus. They always love to play it, and they've always shown a dominant side of themselves on that, being very confident, having the vibes up as we always know them to be on that map. But, you know, I have to save it for when we talk about the next one, but pass the question over to you, Patrick. How are you
Ooh.
feeling?
You know, I'm feeling pretty good, Wyatt. We were out back refilling our Saints branded water bottles, and I think we ran into Smiley, and he said, you know what, guys, we're going to make this one a quick 13-3 just for you. So, you know, there you go. They're trying to punch the ticket in. They're trying to do it quickly, but on to Agent Select right off the bat. We see the Gecko being picked out from Tillo here, and
Right away.
that's a immediate weird one, as I've never seen that played, at least in this semester.
What does that tell you about how they want to make things go down here?
I mean, you know what does tell me what they want to do is definitely that deadlock.
deadlock.
You know, the Gecko might be a little bit of an interesting pick, but the deadlock, I can definitely see the reasoning behind it. You know, we witnessed that when we were doing, I was doing SDS Valorant. I know none of you fabulous casters were there for it, but I was, and it was definitely a Northwood special. They loved to use that deadlock whenever they could and force the entirety of the Saints team off of there. We can see, looks like Smiley's getting a little bit freaky right now. You know, we can see he's picking that deadlock right now. He's ready to go. He's getting freaky. There he goes. He's excited. He's ready. He's going to get us that 13-0. And also from instinct, going to be picking out that Waylay. You know, one of the first times that I've seen our very own Saints pick out that agent.
Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff coming out. A lot of I won't say unusual, but unexpected things coming out so far from the Saints, things we haven't seen too often from them. And going into Split, I feel like that's probably the map you want to do anything unexpected on, right? What? I wasn't looking at the screen. What happened?
Nothing. We don't talk about it. Instinct, Smiley. We don't talk about it. Don't worry about that. Chillin'. Show me a little something. All right, never mind. It's just going to switch the camera angle. All right. You know what? What I will say is that I'm very confident in the deadlock from Smiley. I know that on Ambrosia we saw him play some of this before, so he's no stranger to it. Truth on the Breach. The Omen comes through from Chillin' as well. And on the other side, that double duelist lineup with the Raze and Jet comp comes through. Something that I think is very interesting about the deadlock, you pointed out that it was being used by Northwood, mainly Darkest, and something that he did really well was, again, you pull out the ult to basically just stop time and drain time, especially in a post-spike down scenario when you have the people on the defense having to go for the post plant, you rip open that deadlock ult, and you just burn time away from them. You just make them have to all come through one doorway, and you just hold it, and you wait. And you just wait until you see a pixel move, and the second you see anything change color, boom, you snipe that out immediately. It's just time burnt, a man down. It's the perfect ult for time wasting ability, and it really is one of the beautiful ults that you can use for a confirm on your post plant on attack.
It's also a great agent overall for securing areas and locking down a site. I mean, we talk about the deadlock wall to cut off parts of the map, and then also the net, which gives you a very audible sound cue to tell you when someone has been caught in it. I think Smiley is going to come alive on this deadlock, and I can't wait to see how he uses it.
But right now, you know what? I'll tell you something. We know how Freak uses the Jet on the Sheriff. Finds two immediately. A really good start there for NCSU. Is going to be the ones taking down Instinct and Truth. So no flashes coming through from the Breach or concussions as well. The Waylay. Fortunately, that movement, we're going to have to wait before we get a taste of seeing that. So Chillin'.
Spike planted.
Very close quarters. It's going to be the Raze nade that comes through and clears that position. don't believe he's aware about Breetz's location on the bottom of that sip. But the swing comes through, and well, these crosses are going to be held pretty ruthlessly as we see Nuthium finds one, Freak with the triple, and the quad hopefully waiting in his arms if you're an NCSU fan.
I mean, we talk about Smiley's name speaking for himself. Talk about Freak's name has just come alive. 2 kills off the bat early, and now looking to line up a 4th. Looks like Generic's going to find it, though, and so far, NCSU are definitely shining a different side of them that we did not see a lot of on Lotus.
Yeah, again, you know what? They lost both pistol rounds, but at the same time, the Saints have been notoriously bad at pistol rounds in the past, and well, you know what? It's a tough one to go on, Smiley. I mean, you said 13-3. Immediately, I'm starting to think you might be opening this one up 0-2. You only have one buffer, that means, before you break the promise you made to me and Wyatt here today. And you know what? I don't even care if you win. That would be very heartbreaking to see. No,
that would not make me very smiley.
As long as they punch their ticket in, that's all I care about. And right now, you know what? First 2 rounds doesn't dictate the way a game goes. What dictates the way a game goes is how you can bounce back. And Smiley finding 2 right there with the classic is definitely a good way to start that. Picks up the Vandal as well. Huge there for St. Clair. Truth
I must wait a moment.
on a Spectre as well. So have a little bit of something to work with. NCSU looks like the Omen trying to rotate over to B with that spike. We'll see if St. Clair have any wits about that movement at all, but it seems like that has remained to be seen. The Cypher just slowly pulling back, and I would imagine that they're just going to slowly withdraw and hold crosses for the entirety of the rest of this round.
I'm Bueno throwing a little bit of smoke there over to A, try to just keep Saints over there, convince them that they're going to be going for the A push, but you know, it looks like Chillin is not going to buy it as he slowly moves with Smiley over towards B. Yeah, you know, the spike is down now. I'm Bueno has to play the post plant, and Saints, they're just going to gather up right now and try and find a way on back to the site. But you know, Britz is going to be able to hear all of this right now, as he might be able to find someone, but I'm Bueno is left all alone on the site, and the Saints are coming together like a bunch of troops. Instinct going to be the first one out, jumping around frantically to try and find someone out. I'm Bueno is going to get his location revealed. Britz finds 2, looking to find a 3rd, but no, Instinct is going to close it out.
Well, you know what? I really thought Britz there on Heaven with the Guardian was going to be able to find a little bit more, but Instinct
Wasn't
2 headshots with the Sheriff, the pop-off as well. We can hear it from here. Is now St. Clair, they're able to find one on the board. And a huge one at that. They break the conversion. And now, St. Clair tying it up 1-1. It's a huge ego boost as well. Because of the fact that, well, yeah, I mean, you guys all started on pistols and you worked your way up.
It is definitely going so far on the side of the Saints. I mean, we can see a couple smiles out from them so far. Now the buy looking in their favor. And it looks like they're mounted towards more B rather than A. You know, we still got the waylay over there from Instinct to try and spot anybody out. It's going to be a little bit of a mid-fight here, but that wall is slowly or quickly going to put that to a stop now as Tillo finds the first pick onto Freak. Going to try and spray out a little bit more to try and find someone else. Instinct, though, going to be able to find the only attacker over to the side of A, and now the entire A side is free. It's just B that is still infected with NCSU for the Saints to try and exterminate. Tillo takes the first one down. 2 more left. A flash out from Truth. Finds another with Smiley. And now it's all up to I'm Bueno. It's not Bueno for him right now. He's going to get run down. And Smiley closes it out. And they now take the lead.
Well, you know what? That's just huge, that deadlock wall there, being able to just shut down the mid push immediately. And that's something that a lot of people, I think, need to realize more is that deadlock, you know, it's not, some people immediately think, oh, well, Sentinel, deadlock, you know, that wall, it's good to place on your flank so you can deny that from happening. If you play it that way, that's cool. But the other way that a lot of people write off is how you can play it aggressively to shut down imminent pushes and take space and make it your own. That's something that you can use to control to your advantage if you want to play with it a little more aggressively, and that's what we saw Smiley do right there. So beautiful work by him and Saints Company, and now We'll have to see as they take the round advantage what they have next in store, at least for NCSU, as they try to make this attack, or at least this opening push onto A.
They're mounting something right now, but they're a little concerned. They have not yet to actually push onto the site.
Yeah, they're going to pull.
They are indeed going to pull, looking to go through sewers possibly to meet them in the mid, but Smiley is there and ready with some utility down. Chillin is also ready there with a preemptive smoke, and now it looks like it might be a battle for mid unless they decide to meet up with Brits, who has not yet taken any space up B, but might if the rest of the team is there to support him.
Right now through mid, it's just going to have to be very patiently waiting, as we saw the Skydog is going to be able to have the reveal from Nuthium onto Smiley. But this being said, the cover is being found. However, the trade back did not happen just yet. Truth finds one, but gets gunned down by Freak. And NCSU, all of a sudden, in a quick blitz of frantic chaos, it pauses to a standstill. The drops now come from the zip, and now 3 on the smoke. Instinct, though, with the flank, but he's going to get cut down, and same with Chillin. Tillo in a 1v2. Breets has his number, and NCSU will take the lead.
This so far has definitely been showing a lot of the cracks in Saints. You know, they have been having great starts to the round, but it's been how they have been finishing that has been really denting them so far. You know, they haven't been looking as dominant, not as confident in this game, and you know, that's something that North Carolina are taking advantage of, and we can see it right now. They have that Cypher ultimate online, which could provide a lot of information for them, as it looks like they might mount a full quick push onto A, but it looks like it's going to be quickly stopped with that ultimate out from Instinct, as everybody looks to move a little slower as time winds down.
Now, I will say, you know, the fact that NCSU has made it a 2-2 game, it's very good, as we see the Waylay using the recall there to just play her life. And I think that something that needs to be talked about is the fact that with St. Clair, you know what, yes, we are seeing some gaps in their defense, but at the same time, this team isn't necessarily as defensively sound as they are at least offensively. They're definitely an attack-first squad, no matter what map you're playing on. They definitely prefer having the spike in their control. But we'll have to see if they can mentally survive the onslaught if NCSU starts to kind of pull away with a little bit of a lead here on their very own attack. The zips from Sewer get taken, and now the rotate over to A ensues. We'll see if St. Clair are made aware of this.
It's a great read so far out from NCSU. They've been able to get Saints off of this site, and they're just going to be able to walk up right here. You know, the smoke is going to help wonders for them. And as the bomb goes down, Saints have now found the errors of their ways, and they're going to have to retake this now as the rest of the team, swiftly but surely, is there to try and get them. But you know what? Brits is in the mid right now, hears all of this, and might be able to find a couple heads on the flank.
Yeah, you know what, I'm especially looking at Bueno as well, is in such a peak position. The stun comes out though, and well, immediately there you go. The deadlock ult comes through and takes him away, as now clears that position, but Brits finds 2. Those get traded back very quickly though. Smiley has the confirm now onto Bueno from that deadlock ult, and now this defuse can get started. Nuthium though finds 1, Smiley trades it back, has to find the headshot. Truth, can you do it? Yes, you can. And Smiley can stick that spike defusal with ease and calmness in his mind, knowing that his teammate has his back. St. Clair, they take another.
Definitely confident right now. You know, they're starting to lock in a little bit more. And, you know, NCSU definitely had a great read there. You know, they were able to take the site without losing any bodies, but, you know, it was the retake that really struggled for them. Mainly that deadlock ult, you know, you talked about it. I'm Bueno could have gotten a lot more value out of there if he was not taken out quickly from that ultimate out from Smiley, and now it's left them in a little bit of a rut right now. They don't have the best buy. You know, I'm Bueno has the best gun out of the entire team right now, but it's the rest of the team there. Will they be able to support him? I'm Freak trying to support the rest of his team, but Tillo is going to catch him out now.
Yeah, you know, it's just very interesting how St. Clair, you have the range advantage. There's no reason to get aggressive right now. Let the picks come to you as you control these long angles down mid. We do see that right now it's going to be the Sky who needs to make a rotation over. Now Instinct and company, I believe it was Tillo as well, just chilling around as they can try to pull back out. Again, there's no reason to play it aggressively or close. You just keep on backing up, play the range game, and let NCSU overexpose. We'll have to see if St. Clair, they can keep this one up as now the engagement through heaven comes in. It's going to be the Deadlock who's going to be the first point of contact. On the other side of the map, Breeds has been able to find one and now uses the Cypher ult. Positions will be revealed. This makes it all the more interesting for NCSU, despite the fact that they have the gun disadvantage.
Chillin on site is going to get taken out swiftly by Nuthium. And now the trails are found out by Nuthium as well. Generic going to be able to take down Instinct in a flash there. Smiley, though, is going to answer back with 2 of his own. And now in the 1v2 scenario, he doesn't have a lot of health to play with. Tries to take down Generic.
13.
A little bit of a breath onto both of them. Might be able to take them out. Takes the first one out. And now Brett's up in heaven. Has to drop
So
out
low
now.
as well. It's
The
just
net
one.
as well. It's going to be able to find him.
Oh!
No! Brett's is able to find out Smiley. Finds the plant as well to help him into the next round. And you know what? That
It doesn't even matter. Yeah, the time got burned enough. So
oh my lord.
it was easy. Smiley, you know what? I just wanted it for the ace, but it doesn't even matter. You burn enough time. St. Clair, they're going to be able to win the round. You can't plant the spike in time, bro. It just ran out. So a good job of just playing behind the pillar and just making NCSU have to come to you, a close one. And now the timeout gets burned as well. So a good round there from St. Clair. NCSU, they take the timeout in what has to be a mentally taxing round. A 4v1. Smiley finds the double, has the third as well from the Rays, and then just plays smooth, plays time. And the Cypher just couldn't get the job done fast enough.
It was so close there. I mean, I'm mistaken in
Yeah,
myself.
we almost saw it go down. We really did, but it wouldn't have mattered, obviously. So it's just tough, right? It really is, but it was a good job there from St. Clair playing with discipline.
Indeed, and now, you know what? NCSU burning their final timeout has given Saints also a little bit of time to recollect and be able to take these next rounds possibly not so close to the wire. And you know what? They've got a couple ultimates as well and some great buys to help them out. You know, both teams are going to be bringing a lot to this next round to try and fight it out. Possibly be a very aggressive round, a very bombastic round, if you might say, with a lot of stuff being thrown down to try and take it in one favor or another.
But right now, the mid-chow has to be the thing that happens first, and it's immediately Smiley using that deadlock wall. It's going to be shot out in quick succession, but then also has the nade. You just play the distance, and well, why overextend again? I feel like sometimes we saw that St. Clair. There was the one round in Lotus where they all kind of sent it up C Mound for no reason and gave their lives away. We see Tillo. He's not learned at least his lesson thus far into that yet. St. Clair, they're looking to get aggressive. Hopefully it works out for them. Sometimes it doesn't though when you're on the defense. Deadlock ult will completely miss out, and there you go. Nuthium makes Smiley pay for getting up close and personal. Truth will have the refrag, and that is the spike carrier gone cold, but the ult comes through. Instinct with 2 is going to beg St. Clair the advantage, at least for now, in terms of positioning. NCSU, what do you have left? What tricks in the hat do you have to pull out? We see that Bueno has the Omen ult to reposition, but it's not going to give him any luck as Instinct finds the third and uses the recall to get out.
Spike is down, and Brits has to make a run for it, but Instinct hears this. So does Chillin. The blind comes out, and Instinct is just there to clean it up. So far, Saints, you know, we can see that smile out there from Mr. Smiley himself. That's how we know that this game is going in the right direction so far for the Saints. You know, not, as we said before, dominant of a game as we saw out on Lotus, but, you know, still sitting pretty comfortably so far for the Saints, taking 3 rounds in a row.
Well, now they're on a bit of a roll, especially with the timeout burned by NCSU. It definitely hasn't done anything just yet in terms of, like, helping them obviously win around because that hasn't happened. So St. Clair, this is kind of that point where I start thinking about they become one of the hardest teams in North America collegiate-wise to beat when they are up on round count and rolling with momentum. And I think we're starting to see what could be the beginning of the end very early here for NCSU if they don't have a way to stop this rolling oncoming train. However, Freak and company looking to hopefully do so as they navigate their way towards A, but Chillin immediately finds Breets as well. It's a great first pick. The trade comes through. Nuthium's going to be able to leave St. Clair breachless. At the same time, with a minute left, NCSU, they need to make a move and quickly.
They're bunched up right now, and it looks like Chillin is going to regroup with the rest of his team as well. It's but Smiley left in the sewers alone, going to try to find a couple here on the back foot, but I'm Bueno definitely suspects it here. You know, they're going to be gearing up for an A hit. Luckily, no one is here for them, so hopefully they do not invest in a lot of util to try and take this out. And now Saints have got to amount a
30
retake,
seconds left.
which might work if Instinct can find the first pick, because so far there's no numbers advantage for either of them, even going through that trade. Instinct's
Oh
out
my
now.
God.
Smiley finds the double! And now it's all up to Generic. The 1v3 scenario. A lot of util to play with as well. Gets caught out by the net. And Smiley. It's definitely got to be smiling after that one.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, you didn't let the wingman defuse. How sad. No, it's okay. Smiley has been an absolutely phenomenal round, phenomenal series thus far. It's MVP of game one, and well, right now, as the trend would suggest, I believe he's leading on picks. Saw him at 10-4, was ahead by a minimum of 5. And, well, the 3K is probably going to be the one to just confirm that opinion. As we see it right there, 13-5 so far for Smiley, is having a crazy game yet again, this time on the deadlock. And I think I'm going to be honest here, you know, he just looks so comfortable, at least on this Omen and deadlock. What do you even do in this scenario to really take him out of his element? Can you really even do anything? NCSU, they haven't cracked the code yet.
No, I think it pretty much is a little bit of a challenger's difference right there, as we now see Instinct trying to amount a little bit of a spectacle himself, going to try to find one. Doesn't find any more though. Brits finds 2 of his own, and now he's going to find out where Chillin and Smiley are lying. Smiley just going to stand right here as the last one comes out, throwing the net down now to delay them a little bit more. And now he's going to back off a little bit more as the rest of them start to amount onto A. Has a perfect angle right here, looking to try and take one out first. Doesn't find anybody just yet. Just a couple bullets. He has 25 HP left. Cannot find anybody yet, but does find Freak. And now Chillin going to be able to answer back with a kill of his own, the 1v1 scenario. He still has to get the spike down. Doesn't have a lot of time. Chillin has to try and delay it out, but no! If you have the aim, you do not need to be wasting any time.
Yeah, again, you know what? You would think that Chillin would just be the one to sort of fall back and force at minimum the spike to be planted, but no. Instead, increases the tempo, increases the pressure. It's just too much for the Jeff, or not the Jeff, sorry, the Jet. I was about to say because it's Freak, Jeff Freak. I'm just thinking about Nexus Showdown. Rivals, what a fun game, Wad. I know you're running that Rivals Collegiate. You know, good stuff out of you. But right now, the Jet Freak is just not able to deal with the oncoming pressure, and it's just too much. St. Clair, again, 7-2. They take the lead here. Now here we go as the A-take comes on through. NCSU, they're just storming onto that A site. Bueno has that spike planted and confirmed. So now St. Clair, they need to deal with this retake, and they need to do it quickly.
They do, but Brits on the flank here, able to find one out on Tillo. Now has to back up though, because Smiley has his number, has his track, gets caught out, does find one though, and keeps his life now. Another similar 2v1 scenario, but Smiley has his ultimate now, does find one onto Generic, and I'm Bueno is down now, and it's all but a matter of seconds until Generic meets his demise, and St. Clair meet a pretty promising end of the first half after a couple more rounds.
Yeah, it's now St. Clair, 8-2. And all of a sudden, throughout the first 4 rounds, I'm sitting here and I'm like, you know what, Smiley? You might be breaking your promise, but 8-2 now, they've definitely started to go on a little bit of a roll. And this is where we start talking about potentially if NCSU are even mentally into it. You're thinking about it right now. You're down a map in NACE playoffs premiere. You're down 8-2. It's just not looking good. There's so much you have to fight back with, and even then, you then have to do it again on Icebox. It's too much of a mentally taxing event to sort of get yourselves over. It's the questions they're asking themselves right now, but bueno. Not going to have the ability to think, because you can't do that when you're dead.
No, it's definitely not scientifically proven. We'll have to talk to a doctor about that after, but you know what? We gotta talk about the game right now, and so far, it's even on both sides. Chillin changing that, though. Jumping out of the way, but does not find safety. Now, Instinct is gonna be spotted out as well, as Nuthium takes him out. Finds the second of the game now, and Saints have to amount a pretty impressive retake right here, because they are down in the 1v3 scenario, but Truth could come at the right time here if he just sneaks right under that trip, and now might be able to take out one if he finds the right timing.
But you just gotta watch out, because it's not about just if you can take out one, it's how NCSU are going to play around stacking up here. Playing off of each other's contact is the term that we use, at least here in Siege, as I'm used to casting. But for Valorant, I'm assuming it's pretty much the same thing. You just play off of the first swing, and it's just going to be micro peaks all of a sudden, and there you go. It's perfect. The second one exposes, and the shots come through. The other one swings out. We see it happen. No matter how fast your reaction time is, usually 99 times out of 100, one pick max comes out of those situations. And there, NCSU, they're able to hold down the fort, and they get their third.
Truth was definitely a little confuzzled there. I mean, we saw him jotting left and right, trying to spot out who he would try and take out first. But it wasn't him who would take out someone first. It was him who would be taken out of the game first. And now, it looks like NCSU might be able to end this. And the best opportunity would be an 8-4, and they've started out strong so far. Freak taking out Instinct now. Gonna aggress a little bit more off of that boom bot now. Sights blocked as well. Looks like Generic is just gonna get caught in the doorway and is gonna get taken out by that Molly out from the get-go. And now, doesn't look like their turn of events have been at all favorable for NCSU.
Yeah, well, St. Clair, you're without your waylay, but at the same time, you're the ones who still have the luxury of time on your side. At least for one more round. For 53 more seconds. As they patiently wait. Tillo putting out the wingman. We'll see. Can it concuss anybody as it moves out here? Finds one. Oh my god, Tillo, no, hit those shots! You should have probably had two there. It would have been an impressive feat nonetheless, but cannot land those Vandal shots. And now NCSU, they have their man count. Freak blinded, though, from the breach. Does Truth know about how quickly they're all stacking up? Finds the headshot, and because the other two drop, this pick will be untradeable for the time being. Nuthium with the plant. It's going to be the Jet who's making their way up into heaven. Finds one onto Truth, and now chillin' in 1v2 fashion. We'll have to clutch it out. The Jet now using the dash to just get that split pressure. And this is just so hard. One peek's left, one peek's right. But Nuthium will have the final say in the matter. NCSU, they bag their fourth.
A little disappointed in our man Smiley. Broke our promise, broke our hearts. But you know what? They haven't yet been broken in the game. They're still winning it out. A favorable 8-4 finish for them. And now, it looks like they're going to be finishing it possibly in a similar manner as they did the last round. But you know what? It seems that their momentum cut off around that 11th round, and NCSU were able to take 2 rounds in a row What's to say they won't take the next 5 or 6?
Yeah, you know what? That's sort of the thing is any team can really pop off when momentum's on their side. And St. Clair, yeah, we know they prefer to be on the attack, but you got to get through the dreaded pistol round first. And if you lose that, I know this game they were able to win their conversion, but at the same time, if you lose out on it, what are the chances? Like over 84% that you lose out on that second round. It's going to be Smiley who finds a headshot onto Freak. The trade comes through. But if St. Clair lose these next 2 from the pistol round of the conversion, they're looking at immediately 8-6. NCSU, they're not out of it. And so that lead of 4 can be cut down very quickly. The double stack up happens, but it's going to be Generic who finds the head of Tillo. Man advantage now for NCSU. The blinding bird of the sky comes out, and immediately the position will be calmed and known. Raise nade as well to just burn even more time. Smiley, though, completely blinded from the Omen, is still going to find the shots to put Bueno down. You need to do a little more than that. Spike Diffuser killed as well. That's a huge pick there for Smiley. Working around the corner, 10 HP. Can you find the shot, Smiley? Yes, you can. The 4th. Oh, I almost thought I was going to say give him the ace. But Chillin is going to be able to seal the deal on that round. Bags St. Clair the pistol round.
We can definitely see a little bit of a smirk over there from Chillin. You know, Smiley
knows
looking
what he
over
did.
there. He definitely knows what he did, but nonetheless, it still resulted in another round over to the Saints. They have but 4 more to take under their belts, and then they have secured their plane tickets, their lovely travel over to the land of the beautiful Mr. Mickey Mouse. But you know what? They've still got 4 rounds to win before they can confidently say that. And right now, it's an interesting start. Mounting all together as one pact, as one unit towards B,
Be right
as NCSU are starting to realize where they are exactly. Want to start to get onto here. Instinct's already over
Oh,
there.
this is insane.
The rest of the team, though, might get caught out here. No, I'm Bueno, Smiley, and Instinct. Gonna be able to take out a couple now. 2 more remain. Brett's and Generic, and Instinct with that judge is just absolutely dominant so far.
Yeah, again, you know what? It's just tough. This is a tough one for NCSU, a tough pill to swallow. You're looking at a 10-4 now. It's not like you have a pistol round and economy to work off of, advantage-wise. That does not suit you. It's going to be the aggressive push from Instinct, but that range is just a little too deep there. The Classic will prevail. But at the same time, this one is all but over. I say that Generic actually finds one. He finds 2. Oh my god, that's huge. A 3rd as well, when I might have just cast or cursed it potentially, but no, I don't think, is there enough time? No, there's not even close. As now, St. Clair, they bag that round, but Generic found 3, an impressive round with the Sheriff. St. Clair, they're gonna have to buy all their guns back.
And you know, it doesn't even seem to phase St. Clair that
they seem very calm.
Yeah, that Generic was able to close it out great. And you know what? That's something that I can say generally for the entirety of this series so far, as we got a little bit of a timeout to talk about this a little bit more. So far, it looks like Saints have been a completely different animal, not just playing-wise, but also a little bit of energy-wise. I mean, we saw definitely a little bit of some freaky activity out there from Smiley early on, definitely showing his confidence, showing his vibes that he brings to the team. And that is definitely something that is helping these Saints right now. Is not something that I normally see with them a lot, is a lot of smiles and a lot of positive energy.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, again, this is the effect that a player like Smiley can have for your roster. I vouch for him. He's a great player and a great guy all around. And I mean, right now the stats speak for themselves. 20 and 9, right? So he's definitely putting in the work. And wow, what a great observer angle once again. Look at that. Just close up on the waylay. But no, so this next one goes down. NCSU, they've just taken another timeout. We'll see what adaptations they've made, if any. Last time they tried to take a timeout on Split, well, it was the start of about a 5 or 6 round diff for the Saints. So if all is in history repeating itself, this one's pretty much over, but Nuthium is going to find another. And I know I just said what I said, and it sounds like I'm saying it's over, but trust me, it is definitely still not. No reason why NCSU couldn't claw their way to a comeback here. Nuthium with 2. We'll try to confirm that as now Chillin and Smiley down for the count. St. Clair, they have to try to take some of these gunfights, even out the man count, but it's just not happening for them.
Freak is able to find out the first, and now it's all up to instinct. A little bit of the Papa Weasel right now, trying to pop up right now and find someone as he's stuck in his little gopher hole. Freak gonna try and get him out as well with the Outlaw in close range. He gets the pistol out and takes him down, and now NCSU have their 5th game to them. The Saints looking very stoic, if I have to say myself. Actually, forget that. You know, chillin', gonna bring a little bit of laughter there.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like they know that this one is very much in their grasp, close to it being over. And that's just kind of how you have to treat the scenario. You need to play with that excitement because at the end of the day, when St. Clair ramps up the tempo, I feel like that's the moment where NCSU just can't keep up. I feel like they can't match them in their aggressiveness half the time. And that's the reason why St. Clair have just looked so much better on splits so far. Smiley finds the first one onto Bueno. Starting the round off good for St. Clair as we see the Waylay now using that recall, confirming probably the sound cue of the position of Nuthium and then just using the intel and keeping it playing the life. Should really do respect. As a minute 9 goes down, we have to see as they're looking forward to creating and execute on A.
One thing I have to credit NCSU here is they're very concrete in their defensive lineup. You know, they are definitely down 1 player right now, and that doesn't seem to be phasing them too much. You know, now that they hear the utility come out, they decide to move, but it's moments like that where you can stay composed that will help you in these next rounds, and the plant comes down from little buddy himself. It's down now, and the rest of the team just has to play off of this. Instinct, though, is going to be able to play onto it now, and now it looks like Smiley is going to be able to spot one out onto Nuthium. Bear's going to try to free him there, doesn't find him though. And now Freak able to find one onto Smiley, but no, gets quickly traded out back over to Chillin. It's all up to Generic left, and Chillin is there, as ice cold as ever, helps Saints find their 11th round.
I think Chillin's such a great player when it comes to being in the clutch, but also just in terms of consistency. He's one of the best that I know personally. As St. Clair, they move up to take their 11th round of split. Right now, if I'm looking at the round split itself, it's, well, looking pretty good actually for NCSU Red as in terms of recency, but with St. Clair, you'll note that usually when they win a round, they win it in chunks. And even on Lotus, there was never a round where St. Clair won that then they didn't win the second one right after that. So they usually win in at least chunks of 2 as Instinct is able to find the head of Nuthium. Generic able to refrag that as now pulls back deeper, but minute 25 left. St. Clair look like they're definitely eyeing a B take more.
Indeed, but Bueno is ready and aggressive here. Can take out anybody who decides to push up far as the rest of the team now amounts with them. Smiley might look to take this on aggressive. His Instinct is now out here. He's going to get taken out soon. And now as the rest of the team muscles on to try and take Bueno out, but he gets another and is able to escape with it. Chillin, though, going to be able to find 2 of his own. 2 more remain, though. And Freak has popped the knives. Who will get cut up first? Chillin is a little up right there. Might be able to find one. Gets quickly out of the way there. Freak is going to be able to find Chillin. It's all up to Tillo now. The 1v2 playing off of it. The last knife spared for Freak. Nobody's on it just yet. A shot missed, but knives landed! And Tillo meets his fate as now NCSU have taken their 6th, and you know what? They are starting to amount a little bit of a comeback, some momentum behind them now, as it has been a little bit more back and forth between both of these teams, but NCSU still saying they're not out of it yet.
Well, they only have 1 buffer left, Wyatt. They need to go 6-1 through their next 7 if they want to force OT at the minimum, let alone try to win in regulation. You have to be flawless from here on out. St. Clair, it's really unfortunate. I really thought Tillo with the spray transfer could have been able to find that jet, but the last knife, of course it had to be the last one, lands the headshot. So good job there from NCSU, but I think if we talk about what really got them that round, Bueno, who's looking to do the exact same thing, was the one who really sparked the catalyst, in my opinion, for NCSU. The take comes through, though, and immediately Bueno is setting the tempo again with a pick of his own.
Definitely a little bit of overkill there. I mean, we saw Generic also pop the Rays all down to try and take out Smiley, and Bueno was just there to take him out first. And now Nuthium is stationed up quick and close here, as the Saints are opting not to go over towards B. The dog is going to be able to spot out Tillo now as he keeps some aggression over towards this area. Chillin is able to find one on the back, though, getting over there through the use of his ultimate. And now the Saints have pulled a little bit of a switcheroo as Chillin takes down Nuthium as well. Looks to take down Generic. Now might find Freak. No, Freak finds him with the operator to the cranium. And now Instinct just popping up a little bit to try and find someone. Freak!
Shot.
Yes, going to find a quick one onto Truth now.
I was going to say, but it's just so close. Instinct should have the advantage there as he pops the head. Is he going to pick up the op? Maybe, potentially, as Tillo finds the last with the Guardian. And there you go. You're all out of buffers. It's map point, series point, Disney point. As St. Clair, they move on to 12-6. So it's going to have to be St. Clair who NCSU who need to now force the issue from here on out.
All I can say so far is that these boys are just one step away from going to see the mouse himself, the Mr. Mickey himself, and they're definitely going to be enjoying that. But it's not over until it's over, but it looks like Saints are going to mount a very aggressive push right here. They're going to dump everything that they can, but Nuthium is caught out here, doesn't able to find any value, and now Saints
It's
find
over
four.
before it started!
It is indeed. One remains on point with a judge in hand, is able to find one onto Instinct, but not anymore.
That's it. Book the flights.
Book the flights indeed. Smiley standing up with a great old grin on his face, arms out. Boys, you have punched your ticket to Orlando. Congratulations, you've made it to the NACE playoffs.
Well, there you go. You're going to land, boys, and you see the excitement across their faces. And in terms of NACE playoffs, there's still a lot more to do, but it's definitely a great feeling knowing that you've punched your ticket through. Chillin'. Why are you eyeing up the camera like that? It's like, what do you have to act so cool about? Let the emotions fly a little bit. It's all good. I'm sure.
I think he's
Smiley's done that enough for more than like 2 people on that team, so it's good. He makes it up.
I think Chillin's just still trying to process the moments.
I just have to zoom in on his face.
He process the emotions. We can see him thinking about it. Indeed, that's definitely what's going through his head right now.
Oh, yeah,
and
we won.
You know what else is going through all the boys' heads is a sense of victory. They've taken it 2-0, and as we said before, they're going to the lovely land of Orlando. And we're back to the desk, ladies and gentlemen, and Mr. Daniil. You didn't disappear on us this time.
Absolutely not. I would not miss this for the world.
He didn't
The
ego chow
Saints-
C Mound.
What is that? I don't even know what you're saying.
He didn't ego chow C Mound and just died and went off.
Mound? Oh, I know what you're talking about now. I would never do that unless I was playing against you because I want you to feel like you're garbage. But I know the Saints don't feel like garbage right now. They have, I love saying this term, punching their ticket. I know where the term comes from. Like, how you think your ticket's like a hole punch so that you prove that you had your ticket. You showed it to the guy. But it sounds so dumb. It's like, punching my ticket. All right, I guess so. But the Saints are going to Disneyland, baby. Going to shake hands with Mickey Mouse himself. And guys, that last round especially was quite exhilarating. Not in the sense that it was exciting and you couldn't tell the outcome. It was pretty obvious from the first few seconds how that one was going to go. And I think that kind of encapsulated how that whole series went for the Saints. It just felt dominating the entire time.
It was definitely dominating, and I know we went into this series and the game thinking, this isn't one of their more favorable maps. This isn't something that they love to play on, but, nonetheless, they'll still dominate on it because, you know what, they've got confidence, they've got vibes, they've got smiles, and it all worked out for them in the end.
Yeah, you know what, it's really nice to see just the excitement across the faces. It's always the best feeling or at least the best thing to watch in esports when you have the team immediately with that first reaction of "we did it." So there you go. We got our marquee moment there, and it was really nice. But I believe we are actually going to have an interview as well with our MVP. I think it's going to be Smiley again if I had to make, I guess, a prediction.
Yes.
If I had to make an educated guess. On the deadlock, he was absolutely lethal, especially when we look back to that round where he was on the deadlock in the 1v4 clutch on B site as well, draining the clock, finding the double headshot, finding the raise as well, dropped to 13 health, played around that pillar, got her, and then immediately drained the clock as well. So the Cypher didn't have enough time, right? Plays like that are huge caliber plays. Big time players make big time plays. I've said it lots of times before in the broadcast, and well, it really just goes to show itself. Smiley with a huge series.
I mean, yeah, you designate
True.
Smiley as a possible MVP. Someone else that I would also have to highlight, which possibly didn't have like the most flashiest plays that we saw out like Smiley, but still was able to find some smaller picks here and there to still provide a equal amount of value, would have to be Chillin, I
Yeah.
believe. Definitely a great all-around player through both maps, and then in the final one also he was able to find some massive value with his ultimate, I believe, getting to the back line and then able to spot out 2 players to turn the tides essentially for St. Clair was very beneficial for them. Let's take a look at the team stats right now just to figure out who exactly our MVP is. And you know what, Patrick, take the words right out of my mouth. I think we know who it is.
Yeah, you know, Smiley had an absolutely disgusting series, going 28-14 on map 1 and then 23-13 on map 2. So it's just gross, man. I mean, 51 kills through 2 maps. Disgusting. 25.5 kills on average, 5 assists as well, ACS of 330. It doesn't get much better than that. I mean, Freak tried. Breets also had some huge plays there. You really got a feel for Nuthium in that last round. Had a little bit of an instinct moment from Lotus where you had the trigger discipline, but you waited too long, and then you just got bit in the butt for it. So, NC State, you know, or at least thank you for competing, and congrats to St. Clair for taking this one home in 2-0 fashion.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, I think that is a very accurate representation of what our Saints team is capable of. Once again, a fantastic effort from both teams in the competition tonight, but it's time to wrap things up with a joyous reconvening with our one, with our only. He's got the rapper mic ready to go. He's waving to his friends in the audience. Smiley, Steven, talk to us, baby. How are you feeling after that? You broke the
Absolutely
curse.
fabulous.
You won on stream.
Absolutely fabulous. First one on stream, I couldn't be happier.
I mean,
I don't
you
even know how to feel. I can't explain it in words.
I think you're going to have to try your best to put it to words, because right now,
Okay.
you are going
Imagine
to have
this.
to talk to us. In fact, you know what? You have the privilege of a camera. If you could do some interpretive dance. Oh, we got Seth coming up. Just here to steal your thunder for a little bit. Interpretive dance, symbolic hand movements, gestures to express the joy that you're feeling right now besides words. Go ahead. Some actions here.
Some actions? Okay.
Damn,
oh God,
these are
really
some
put me on
bad
the spot.
actions.
Shoot.
He's thinking.
I'm not even gonna. No one say anything. Cool, that's
It's me
chill.
after the win.
What?
Imagine this.
That's
imagine
chill
this
as
after-
hell.
What the
He's chill as hell. That's him riding the rides on at Disneyland. You know, he's
Yeah.
Right
I
up.
mean, I can definitely attest
Fuck.
to that. The rides are going to be be amazing. And talk about that.
The
How do
headset.
you guys feel going off to Disneyland, now to Orlando? You guys are back on land. I think you guys are very comfortable there. We've seen you guys there multiple times. What are you thinking about that?
I can't wait. This is gonna be probably like one of the last times I go to for SEC. I can't wait to go with the squad. I can't wait.
Aw.
I thought you were
I
going to
can't
say,
wait.
this is a great team, and then you just pause
It
for
is.
like,
They're probably they're picking their nose
I
or
can't wait,
something.
I'm excited. It's gonna be all the teams. It's gonna be Rocket League, COD. We're all going. It's about to be so hype.
Yeah.
Can't
You
wait.
guys are gonna have a fun time while we're gonna be sitting in here shoveling snow off of our cars and stuff like that. So I hope you really appreciate that time. I got a rapid fire questions for you
I'll
here
bet.
right now.
I'm
All right?
down. I'm down.
Yeah, ready? Okay. What's your favorite fruit?
Oh, mango, pineapple, and crunchy grapes.
Okay.
I
well,
give you top 3.
top 3. All right. What was your favorite subject in high school?
Gym class,
And what's your
Or
favorite
science.
What's your favorite subject right now?
psychology.
What's your favorite car?
Lightning McQueen.
What is the thing you're the most
That's a good answer.
afraid of the most?
Nothing.
God,
Fair.
you know,
Seth,
I don't
Seth, Seth.
What a stud.
Seth, never mind. Is he
Afraid
there?
of Seth.
Is he there? Does he have any words for us?
No, he just dialed me up and he left. But
It's just
We're
straight
safe.
up.
Scared of
safe.
Seth.
Well-
Scared of Seth.
Smiley, what's the rest of the night have in store for you? How are you guys gonna really encapsulate this victory and appreciate it?
probably play some Valorant.
Unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. That's a torturous thing.
Like these two are already in the rank game. Like what is going on? So weird.
Well, that's what it takes to be at the best, ladies and gentlemen.
I
You
guess
know,
so.
the answer is right then and there. The team, they're always grinding. Gentlemen, do you have any final questions for our MVP, our shining star, Smiley Steven, the man himself, the man of the hour, the curse breaker, the god himself?
Oh my god,
He's
I
all
like
right.
that.
He's chill. He's cool.
I mean, my biggest question right now is why aren't you joining them in ranked right now?
Lazy.
Because I'm doing this interview.
I was gonna say,
Valid point.
Yeah, the
valid
what?
point. Valid point. Valid point.
Me myself, I don't have very many questions, or at least any that I can think of. They've already been answered. I have the utmost confidence in you guys. Hopefully,
Thank
you
you.
guys perform very well in the rest of NACE playoffs and at
Thank you.
Orlando. Look very forward to seeing you guys there. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Any
Have a good
last
night.
words for the fans at home, my friend?
Have a good night. Love you all. Thank you.
Man
Have a
of the
blessed night.
people. Have a fantastic night, Steven. And thank you for putting on a great show. Gentlemen, thank you for putting on a great show. And thank you, everybody in the back, for putting on a great show as well. Thank you to our sponsors for allowing us to put on a great show. This is going to be Tim Hortons, Alienware, Subway, the St. Clair College SRC, and the St. Clair College Alumni Association. Gentlemen, any last thoughts before we go home tonight?
I mean, again, congrats to the victors of SCC, and thank you to NCSU for putting on a great series. You know, it did end out in 2-0. We didn't get to see Icebox, but no matter the case, it was still a great game, and they put on a definitely astounding show for us here on the broadcast.
Last words, I mean, I just respect that Smiley's favorite car is Lightning McQueen. That's just the only real answer. But that's going to be all from us here. It's been me, Patrick Smoke Chambers, Wyatt, Swag, Rapson, and Daniil Betterson McGee Brown. Signing out for a good night, Saints Nation.
Godspeed.